Alright guys, today we're going to be talking about cherry barbs because, you know, the cherry barb is actually a really cool fish and an underrated fish in my opinion. So yeah, stick around and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the cherry barb. Right, yeah, we're back with another fish talk. Now, I haven't done one of these in quite a while, to be honest with you. Yeah, I used to like take a specific fish species and just talk about it. But yeah, I haven't done one of these in a long while, but we're going to do one again, which today we're going to be talking about the cherry barb. Now there's a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, I have a short that I did about cherry barbs, telling a little bit of information about them that all of a sudden is doing really well and popping off views wise. So I thought, you know, if people are looking for this because it's coming up in the search results, then maybe they want to have like a full comprehensive video on how to keep cherry barbs and yeah. So that's why I'm making this video. Also, they're just really cool fish. So anyway, we're going to start off with the name. So these guys are called in this, like their scientific name is Puntius titteya, right? So that's their scientific name. Usually people just call them cherry barbs or yeah, something like that. And they're pretty cool fish. So they don't get too big. They get about 3 to 4 centimeters, I would say. So about this big. And they like to be in groups. They are a schooling fish. So they like to be in groups of minimum 5. I always recommend you know, then they'll do quite well. But of course, how bigger the group, the better, because they just enjoy being in a bigger group. Now, with these guys, you know, you can pretty much keep them with a lot of different types of fish because they are not too aggressive. They're quite peaceful. Now, some people will say because they're barbs, they're like fin nippers. Now, I haven't seen this too often. Yes, maybe sometimes that will happen because they are a barb. However, it's not that bad, and yeah, most fish are compatible with them. I just wouldn't put them with like long finned fish, so maybe not with like a betta. Maybe that's not the best combination, you know. However, any of the other fish are pretty much fine. Even with some bigger fish, they're pretty good because they do get a decent size, you know, they don't stay too small. Overall, I think just a great fish you can have just in a community aquarium. Now we're talking about, you know, the aquarium parameters and what your tank should look like. These guys originally are from Sri Lanka, so yeah, these guys kind of just want a nice tank with, you know, a tropical temperature. Although they can go a little cooler, I have noticed that. So they'll be alright around like the 19-20 degrees mark already. They'll be fine with that. However, they of course also like tropical temperature around 24 degrees Celsius. I'll put on the screen what that is in Fahrenheit because I'm not too sure. However, you know, they just like, what I found, they like a lot of plants. So if you can get a lot of plants into your setup, then they'll really enjoy that, especially when they do their morning breed and stuff. And I'll get on to how to breed them in a little bit. But yeah, just keep them with a lot of plants because they'll definitely enjoy that. For substrate, you can have sand, gravel, aqua soil. You know, it doesn't really matter because they're not too much. They're not really busy with the substrate, you know. Although if you look at like where they are in the tank, they're usually about in the lower area, I would say. They don't really go up that high, although sometimes they do. I got them up here in this tank, by the way. I'll get some B shots and B-roll and everything like that. But they, yeah, they're pretty cool. So I guess then, you know, we've had all the important things. Now, oh yeah, water parameters. I'm never that fussy with water parameters. Usually what I just do is I keep them on the water parameters that is coming out of your tap or whatever is local to you, because that will usually work best. And you know, if you start messing around with water parameters, you'll just get the fish stressed, in my opinion. But if you are worried about water parameters, they like their pH around 6 to 7, I would say. You can go up to 8 as well. They don't mind that at all. They prefer a little bit of harder water, not too soft. And if you have those water parameters, you're totally fine. But even if you don't have those water parameters, then you'll usually be fine, all right. Like, you'll be fine too, because it's just more about what your local water parameters are, like if they're locally bred or whatever, you know. They should be good. Anyway, let's talk about breeding then. So breeding these guys is not that difficult, actually. I've done it before. Basically what you want to do is get yourself males and females. Now, how do you sex these guys? Very easy. It's actually one of the most easiest fish to sex because all you have to do is just look at them. The males, they'll be more red colored, so they have more of a red color. Now the females will have more of an orange color. So you can really distinguish these guys really well. It's really not difficult. You don't need a lot of experience to see the difference, because it's pretty much, yeah, the males are just like a deep red and the females stay a bit more orangish. So it's quite funny when I have customers come in, because then they're like, well, why are you giving me like the lighted colored ones? I want the deep red ones. And I tell them, well, those are the males, and if you only have males, then you just only, you know, you're gonna have problems, because you don't just want males, you want some females as well. But it is quite funny because people don't really understand, but that's because they're different sexes. That's the males and females. Now, to breed them, all you have to do is get a tank set up. You can do different methods, really. You need to find a way to catch the eggs, right? There's multiple ways. You can do it with like a plant basket, so that the eggs fall through. You can do it with marbles. You can do it with spawning mops somehow, because basically what will happen every morning, these guys will spawn. Now, for ratios, you want at least 1 male per 2 to 3 females. I think that's a good ratio for breeding, at least. You know, for keeping them, it's not that big of an issue. You can have 50-50 if you wanted to. But for breeding, yeah, about 1 male to 2 females, something like that. Then yeah, they'll breed. You don't really have to do anything for that. Maybe entice them with, you know, feeding some frozen foods, live foods, feeding them well at least, and then they'll spawn for you. And the babies are pretty much, well, you know, like any kind of egg. The eggs first have to hatch, they go into wigglers, then they go into free swimmers, and then from that onwards, it's basically just raising them up like any other kind of fry. Really not that tricky. They're kind of similar to zebra danios, so you might have bred zebra danios before. I do have a video on how to breed zebra danios. You can go check that out in the top right hand corner. I think that's up here. So you can go check that out if you want to. But yeah, that's pretty much how you breed them and how you look after them and all of that good stuff. It's really not that difficult, and they're a really cool fish. I think they're an underrated fish for sure. So so yeah, go get yourself some. You know, you can get, I would get at least 5, but maybe do a group of 10 might be nice. They're not that expensive either, at least not here. I sell them for $2.50 each or 5 for 10, so you know, it's not really an expensive fish. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. Also, watch this video here next where you can see how to breed zebra danios, because you might find that interesting after seeing this video. I don't quite have a video on how to breed cherry barbs yet, but zebra danios are very similar, so go watch that video next. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.